up-to-the-minute traffic report, and Frank Lombardo with the weather forecast you can depend on. This is Jersey's Morning Show, Jersey Central with Bert Barron, and it starts now.
It is 7:10. Welcome to hour number 2 of Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. We're inside the Forge Jewelers Studios today. Good to have you with us here as well. We're going to do our contest a little bit later on this hour. We'll continue with Bert's Stocking Stuffers. We've got a great selection of some of the top toys from this holiday season that we're going to give away a whole bunch to one lucky winner a little bit later on in this 7 o'clock hour, so stick around for your chance to win, okay? Next traffic and weather update is coming up at 7:15. We'll get you caught up on everything that's happening there, but great to have you joining us here at Jersey Central on a Wednesday. By the way, 16 cloudy outside, and we'll get up to about, we'll call it mid-40s or so today. I got word recently that New Jersey has been named number 5 as the 5th judicial hellhole in the entire country. And that was kind of surprising wording that was used. So I want to get some more information about why New Jersey would have this not very good distinction. So joining me on the Jersey Central Newsmaker to talk about what exactly this means, he's the president of the New Jersey Civil Justice Institute, and he's here to talk about this not very good ranking for our state. Let's say hello to Marcus Raynor, who is with us here on WCTC. Marcus, good morning. It's Bert Barron. How are you?
Good morning, Bert. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. This does not sound good for our state. When we're ranked, when we have a number as being number 5, when the phrase judicial hellhole follows, that's not good. What's going on in Jersey here, Marcus, that's so bad?
Well, I think that's obviously that name is meant to raise some attention around the issue, and it certainly does that. Every year, the American Tort Reform Association puts out a ranking of states that are attracting a lot of attention for some court decisions and some laws, and unfortunately we landed on that list this year. And there are a few things that have done that. The New Jersey Supreme Court has made some decisions that limit the consumer's right to arbitrate disputes with other businesses, and something we've been raising a lot of concern about over the years is that New Jersey's Consumer Fraud Act is an outlier, and it's attracting a lot of class action litigation into the state. And we believe that class action litigation doesn't serve the consumers. It really serves the lawyers involved in the case much too much. And I'm sure all of your listeners have been on the receiving end of one of these notifications about a coupon settlement or something where they don't really get much, but some company gets sued over it. And it's not a thing we want to be known for in New Jersey because it attracts litigation and it clogs up our courts and it hurts the businesses that locate here.
Yeah, anything that's negative like that to Marcus, of course, I'm not for at all. But it's almost like when you think about class action lawsuits, and you're right, it seems like the big winners at the end of the day are the legal people that are involved in this, and the people who are actually victimized by, whether it's faulty products or whatever the reason was, they get just a tiny little piece of the settlement. But at the end of the day, it's the attorneys, the legal people that are walking away with the big paydays, and that contributes to this bad ranking, right?
That's exactly right. We believe that the civil justice system, our courts, should be used to help consumers who are truly injured get compensated. Our favorite example of this system run amok is a couple of years ago. I'm sure a lot of your listeners go to Subway, the fast food chain, once in a while. Subway was sued because you're probably familiar with the ad jingle, $5 footlong.
Sure.
Well, apparently some lawyers went out and found out that these footlong sandwiches might have actually been 11 3/4 or 11 1/4 inches because they measure the dough by weight, and then when you bake something, sometimes it gets a little taller than longer. So some lawyers took Subway to court, and at the end of the day, you know what happened? The lawyers got $300,000 paid out to them. The Subway $5 footlong now costs $6, and consumers got a written assurance from Subway that they do a better job measuring the length of their sandwiches. That kind of litigation is emblematic of the very stuff that really doesn't serve anybody well. Subway paid money, they raised the price of their sandwich for the consumer, and all consumers got was a handshake that said, we'll do a better job with the length of our sandwiches. That's not what we want in our civil justice system.
Sounds to me like a lot of involved parties, Marcus, just have a lot of free time on their hands if someone's actually measuring a sandwich that's not a foot long. I mean, the joke is, and it's not funny, but it's like if I went to see the movie The Never-Ending Story and it had an ending, hey, I was misled. I was a victim of this film then, right? This title lured me in and didn't deliver.
That's exactly right. And
it sounds ridiculous, right? But it's true.
Yeah. Well, it's not ridiculous to the lawyers who made $300,000 for bringing this suit, and it's not ridiculous to the customers who now pay more for a sandwich. And It's just a shame. And look, there's a lot of things that need to change here, and our courts aren't entirely at fault because they're following the law in many cases. But we have a bill in the legislature that would change this, that would make the Consumer Fraud Act more flexible, so that courts have more discretion. Do you let a sandwich shop like Subway off the hook in something like this, or do you make them pay? And a lot of times businesses settle these suits, but that's just because the process is so darn expensive, and that's where arbitration comes in. We think arbitration is really important. If you really don't like the length of your sandwich, you can probably get your money back from the owner of the individual sub shop. But if you want to go to Subway, maybe you skip the court altogether and you go sit in front of an arbitrator, and they give you a coupon for 10 sandwiches, which is more than you'll get in a class action.
Yeah. Marcus, you and I could probably spend an entire day if we were to go and look at the field of perhaps the American with Disabilities Act. There was a big piece on 60 Minutes the other day where attorneys are actually using Google Earth and looking at different areas, different municipalities, and if they see, for example, a hotel pool that doesn't have the necessary equipment there to make it ADA compliant, they're remotely just filing lawsuits and getting money and getting places fined, and it's just getting out of control. It's crazy. I mean, that's something that just the tip of the iceberg with that as well. But it just seems like stuff like this, it's just maddening at the end of the day. It really is.
You're exactly right. You raise a terrific example, actually, because the American with Disabilities Act is a well-intentioned law. It does good things for people with disabilities. But when you're crafting these types of laws, you have to think about that. And you're right, a whole industry has emerged of, frankly, lawyers who go out and look for every violation, send a letter. And what do you do if you own a small convenience store and you get a letter that says the mirror in your bathroom isn't high enough or low enough, pay us $50,000? You try to pay that off for as little as you can and get out of it. You don't get your day in court because lawyers are expensive. And those kind of shakedown things, we need to make sure we limit that while at the same time making sure businesses comply with the ADA.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there, and we could probably have you back another day and do another segment on that. But before we wrap up here, one of the mentions here about New Jersey being number 5, it targets specifically Atlantic County for some reason. It says no longer the draw it once was for product liability claims. The state's lax standard for expert testimony still leads plaintiff lawyers to bring many drug and medical device cases there on behalf of people from other states. Why Atlantic County? Is there something with leniency there, or the law is different for some reason there?
Well, it's interesting. The Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court gets to decide where to put large class action litigation. And for many years, he was assigning it to this one judge down in Atlantic County who we really took issue with the way she was doing things. She's now gone, and the system was a little bit better. But one issue we've really tried to raise with the court is New Jersey's system of expert testimony. And this is how judges evaluate who is an expert in a courtroom, the doctor, the scientist, the engineer. And New Jersey is really out of whack on that. We're one of only about 9 states that haven't adopted the federal rules on this, and our rules are a little more lax. And what that means is, if you're a lawyer looking to bring a lawsuit against a pharmaceutical company or a doctor, if you can get into New Jersey, you want to do that because it's easier than federal court, and it's easier than the courts in a lot of other states. And this is the type of thing where we encourage legislators and the courts to look around at the country and make sure we're in kind of the fat middle here and that we're not an outlier attracting lawsuits that belong somewhere else.
All right. Well, maybe getting Judge Hellhole off the bench was a step in the right direction.
It was.
Marcus, is there anywhere where people can go? Is there any public websites where people can get some more information about what your group is all about?
Absolutely. We're on the web. Again, it's the New Jersey Civil Justice Institute, and our web address is www.civiljusticenj.org. And if you're interested, we'd love you to check out our site.
Definitely will, Marcus. Thanks for your time this morning. Great conversation. Have a great holiday and Happy New Year, okay?
You too. Thanks for having me on, Bert.
All right. Thank you. Marcus Raynor, my guest from the New Jersey Civil Justice Institute. Listen, when they list, it says Judicial Hellholes is published, and New Jersey is